In this video, we're going to talk more about the Love's RV stop, our thoughts on it, the pros and the cons, and then we're going to take off down to Florida. We're going to talk about the Newport Park that we stayed at, which is a county park near the St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge. We also explored a little bit of the Wildlife Refuge, the Nature Center, and the lighthouse. It was a great start to Florida, and I hope you enjoy this video.
Welcome to Florida. Welcome to the free state of Florida, the Sunshine State.
Florida.
And the roads instantly get better. Alright, so we have now left the Love's truck stop. We're heading now down to Florida, finally. Big part of our destination of this trip is to get down to the Gulf area. So, talk a little bit about the Loves and our experience there. I got kind of mixed feelings about it.
I think it's a great concept.
It's definitely easy for the traveler. When you're on the highway, it's just off the highway. It's got everything you need for camp setup, 30 amp, 50 amp, full hookup.
I would say, to me, I felt like, and it's not in that part of our trip, but if you were planning a trip to put, and you had one of these that was somewhere like midpoint, I think it really would be a good reset day. Because you're not feeling like you're missing out on attractions or activities, a full hookup, so everybody could get real good showers.
Yeah, exactly.
You could wash all the, redo all, like get cleaned up. Like, you live in the camper for 2 weeks or full time or whatever you're doing, things get not quite washed so great, or the floor needs to be swept. So that would be, or even lightly mopped, like that would be a great reset day. Like you pulled in kind of at the end of your day, like we did, like we've been on an adventure, cooking a light supper, paper plates, get all your laundry done, while there still was some things to do for the kids. There was a splash pad.
Yes. There's
a dog park. Like one that's for little dogs and big, a little dog area, big dog area. There was a pickleball court. You could rent pickleball. You could rent cornhole. There was like a pavilion that you could grill out if you didn't, even had propane hooked up to it. Like, so if you didn't want to pull out all your stuff, but your plan was to make a burger, no problem. It's minimal, like minimal.
Yeah, and I think that's where the drawback is. I mean, you're right next to your neighbors. You're stacked in close. It's not the kind of place that you're gonna take out lots of stuff and set up.
No, and you're not, and there's no shade.
No.
And so you're not going to just, put your deck chairs out and stuff. And maybe in the fall when it wasn't, 90 degrees, you might. But I feel like you could stay there like a night, like come in at, you check in as early as 2. You could come in at 5 o'clock after you've done something, have a light dinner, get your laundry washed. And there was like 4 sets of laundry, or maybe just 2 sets, and then there was maybe something over here, but it was really hot in there, so I didn't do any laundry.
The other drawback is being right by the interstate and being next to a truck stop is loud. It's busy.
But it's not like loud, like sharp sound loud. It's like rumble, like a low rumble.
It
loud.
almost sounded like a train rolling by the entire time I was sitting outside.
Minus the whistle.
Yeah, minus the whistle.
But once I was inside and the air was going and the kids were doing stuff, like I never really heard it.
I would say that would be my number one tip, would be leave your air conditioned fan blowing the entire time, because the air conditioned fan kind of muffled out.
And I would say, I still think it would be a really, really good choice for the middle of a trip, a reset day. Yeah. And I'm sure in that area, if you didn't want to use their laundry and you wanted to go to a laundromat and do like a ton, if you were like living on the road, you probably could find something like that there.
It's a
decent sized town.
Yeah.
And and you could do a full reset. And I know people, I've watched others that have, that live on the road, and they do, big shower day, full reset, wash out their clothes, pull everything out, kind of sort. I think it would have been a great place for that. It also is a great place just to get you somewhere else. Like you're from here to there, and you need,
because like I said, it's right there off the interstate, easy in, easy out, automated. Yeah. Another little thing about this one, I don't know if other Love RV stops are this way. I feel like maybe the staffing had become a little bit of an issue, because
there did seem like there was like the sign said there's an attendant on staff there at the park, like in their little office where you could rent stuff, cornhole and pickleball equipment and stuff. But we never really saw anybody there.
No.
And but the 2 times that we called, like there was a splash pad, the water would come on the splash pad. They came over really quickly from the truck stop. I feel like the whole thing is understaffed, but that might just be in the current staffing market.
Absolutely, and it might be just limited to that particular location. Management may have just decided to move their priorities there because it wasn't seeing as much traffic as they thought. I don't know.
It's pretty new because Google said we were like, why are you in the middle of a field, basically?
I'd be curious. Put your comment in the comments below if you stayed at a Love stop and what your experience has been. What has it been? Kind of low staffed? Has it been also loud like this was? But be curious. As we make plans to go back out to the Midwest, maybe
we're
next
probably
summer.
going to hit some of those.
Yeah, I would like to see about maybe hitting some more and what your experience is. So, all in all, I wouldn't say it was a bad experience. It wasn't. It's not a state park. I mean, it's parking lot.
No, it's not someplace you're going to say a couple of days.
No.
It's I'm going from here to there, and that really looks like it's probably too far for a drive. Like I know he likes to limit like 4 or 5 hours is kind of the max you can do, and it is a whole different experience than driving your car. Like I know we've gotten in my van and 10 hours later gotten to Mississippi, and it's different than pulling a camper.
Yeah.
It is a great one night stop, and I will say the kids played in the splash pad for probably almost an hour.
Yeah.
And they took the dog to the dog park, and they wandered around a little bit. So I mean, it's a great one stop on the way.
Yeah.
It's a stop on the way, and I don't think it's built to be much more than that.
Kind of like the KOA journey, sort of,
Yeah.
but with a little bit less amenities than some of the KOAs. So very, very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's built to be a destination as much as it is a get you from here to there stop.
Absolutely. Now we're on our way down to the Newport Campground at Wakulla near Wakulla Springs, Florida. County Park, founded on Campendium. Excited to get to Florida and see what that's all about. The drive, leaving as we were packing up and hooking up this morning, it was raining. Got a little wet. Wasn't too bad.
Wouldn't be a trip for us without some rain.
As soon as we got on the road, we drove through some heavy rain, so we timed it perfect. Driving now through the country of South Georgia. It's a pretty countryside. I am shocked at the number of pecan groves. There's a pecan grove right there to our left as we're driving. A lot of watermelon fields. It's a pretty area. So.
Yes, and then as we cross over, this will be the kids' first time in Florida, or first time camping in Florida.
Yes.
So several firsts on this trip.
Yes, lots of firsts. Florida state line.
Florida! We're in Florida!
Welcome to Florida.
Our first time in Florida. Wait.
Welcome to the free state of Florida, the Sunshine State.
We're in Florida!
So one of the kind of main things I wanted to do on this trip was to really experience what I kind of think of as like old school Florida. And when I think of that, I think of the big natural springs that people go swimming in.
And kind of that Spanish architecture.
Yes. So started looking around at different state parks here, and one of the ones that I discovered is Wakulla Springs State Park.
Go north for 11 miles.
There are no campground. There's no campsites at Wakulla Springs, but there's a lodge at a huge day use area. So that was where I wanted to end up. We needed to find somewhere to stay in the meantime while we were visiting. So started looking in the area, and lo and behold, the county had a campground just 9 miles away from the state
not
park.
even probably,
So looked them up. Sure enough, they had reservations available. So we grabbed a site for a couple nights. That was actually, I believe, the first reservation I made for this trip, because I knew it was going to be right around the 4th of July. And I wanted to go ahead and get it locked in. I'm glad we did. The first night that we were there, it was fairly empty.
It, maybe half, maybe a little less than half, but
Yeah.
it was pretty full today when we left.
Yep, as we were leaving, I don't think there was any RV sites left. I think there's a couple of tent sites. So it's a fairly small RV park, 2 loops. As I mentioned, there's the full hookup sites for RVs, and there are some what we in South Carolina would refer to as primitive sites for tent campers. Probably about 50-50 would be my guess. Very well maintained. The grass was kept up nice.
I don't think we ever came in or left and that guy wasn't weed eating or mulching or
Running the mower. Yeah, he stayed busy. It's a small park. I mean, it's
a small park. It's quaint.
yes, yes, quite. There's a little hippie feel to it. There's a couple of cornhole boards that were painted up with some of the psychedelic sort of stuff, and some of the visitors there were kind of that free-spirited minded folks. But neat little walkway to the river that sits right there on
St. Mark's
the river.
River is right there, and there is a boat launch too. So if you were, that's a little bit kind of on the backside of the park. So if you were kayaking,
Or wanted to put in, I noticed the neighbors that pulled in yesterday, they came in with a boat that they kept in the primitive site next to them. Imagine they probably today are out on the river.
And we had some kayakers down from us, and they were going to just take it straight to to that boat dock.
Now, one thing is odd about some of the sites, and I'll show you our site here in a second, was they had back-in sites.
They're backwards.
And they had pull-in sites. Not pull-through sites, pull-in sites. Basically, the hookups are on the wrong side. I think that it was designed for tent campers and motorhomes. I don't think it was really, when it was built,
Thought through.
that it was thought through about travel trailers and fifth wheels.
Well, and they talked about them like they were pull through, and there was like more gravel, but there was still like there was a barbecue grill like in the way.
It would have been too sharp. There's
no way. Yeah, and it would have been a very sharp view.
So you'll see. We'll do a quick show of our site 15, so you can kind of get an idea. Other than that, the longer we were there, the more it grew on me. Just to see how well maintained it was, and the fact that it had full hookups for $31 a night.
And everybody was super nice.
Yes, for $31 a night, I thought that was a really reasonable rate for what we were there. Now, when we got there, as we were getting checked in, the host told us about the lighthouse
at the St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge. He was like, "You got to go down to the refuge and see that, and go to the lighthouse." Now, the lighthouse, and on the website and in the brochures and stuff, it does not really say that, but the lighthouse really is only open like 10 to 4 on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Sunday might not even be. It might just be Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
The Wildlife Center, like it was kind of a nature center. The nature center part of it was open. I guess really not nature center, but like visitor center.
Yeah, I think they called it a visitor center.
That was open 7 days a week, like 8 to 4. But then the store in there was only open like Thursday to Sunday, 10 to 2. It's really odd the way the times are, but the little visitor center was really cool.
Yeah, it had
really neat displays.
A couple of nice displays, alligator in there, and then another kind of, there was some snakes and a deer and bear.
There was like 16 things in that little vignette that you could, there's like a little key card that you could kind of figure out what was what. It was neat. There was a lot of like little things you could pick up and listen, and there was an otter that you could actually touch.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was a river otter.
A river otter that you could feel the difference between some of its fur, and it looked really pretty. There was lots and lots of trails, boardwalk trails, birder trails. It really catered to birders.
Yes, very much so, and place where you can kind of pull over and just watch, because it's a wildlife refuge. It was actually built to be a place for migratory birds to stop off. So there's a high chance that you're going to see some birds along the way. Then once you get down to the point, all the way out at the end, you see the lighthouse, built in 1830. That just boggles my mind that lighthouse has survived so many storms and survived the Civil War and all the issues that have happened down there, and it's still there, still working. Really neat. Unfortunately, we were there, we weren't able to go up in it.
And you can't go up in it. I think you can only tour the keeper's quarters anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a cool lighthouse, and it's a cool area. Like there's a couple built up spaces where you can walk up and observe the marsh and look. The stories neat. During the Civil War, the Confederates hid the Fresno lens in the marsh. And I'm like, who did you tell that you could know where it was to dig it back up? It all starts to look the same.
Yeah.
But it was the building, the lighthouse was there in the 1830s, but the road was built by the CCC
in the
1930s. So it just always blows my mind, those lighthouses. I mean, I know that's the point, is that they're on the edge of the world so that for ships, but it just always is crazy to me that they were built and there was nothing, like they weren't really attached to the land that direction.
Come back and join us next week as we explore Wakulla Springs State Park, the largest spring in the state of Florida. It was one of the main reasons why we came this way, and it did not disappoint.
Back here.
I do see it.
It's fancy.
Very skinny.